to say hello to Daniel Nestor.
We're going to say hello to Danny Nestor.
No way.
There he is. Yes.
No way. Where is he? In like Dominican Republic on a beach or what? Or is he in Jamaica?
There's sunshine here, but it's not quite that warm.
Nesty, what's up, buddy?
Good to see you guys.
I mean, Danny, I texted Danny. I said, look, we have Knowles on this week. We got to have Danny Nestor on the show. You carried this guy to 3 Grand Slams, countless finals. I mean, how did this come about? How you guys started playing together? And I have the year down here, but maybe you can tell everyone when you started playing together and how it all came about.
We started in '94 by chance playing in Bogota. My dad entered me in the tournament without me knowing. And then Knowles asked me to play at the U.S. Open, and we took a title there. We beat the Jensens in the final, and I was fortunate enough that Knowles asked me to play the following year, and the rest is history.
And did you even know who he was when this guy signed up with you, or you were like, wait a second, who is this guy from the Bahamas?
Knowles was established then. He'd already won a Montreal Rogers Cup with Courier, and it was a thrill for me to play with him, to have that opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually funny because Daniel and I were both singles players. So that's how it came about. Was we were both main draw at the Bogota tour event, and so I saw Dan's name in there. We'd played against each other a couple of times in singles, and obviously he brought an incredible skill set with his lefty serve, great off the ground, huge forehand, and just kind of thinking we were both going to Bogota. I was like, I'm going to ask this guy if he wants to play doubles. I don't even know if we'd ever really talked. Dan's a very quiet guy, and but I respected his game right from the beginning, so I asked him to play, and obviously we did really well right out of the gates.
Who broke up with who? Who started?
He dumped me a couple of times, actually. Yeah, he dumped me a couple of times.
I mean, it was like, didn't you guys play for 13 years? Am I reading that right?
That's incorrect, by the way. I don't know why they say so much. No, we played, 5 years, you dumped me, took like a 2-year break, then we played for another 5 years, I think, and then he dumped me again.
I don't know if it happened like that, but all I know is Knowles took me under his wing, so a lot of my success is attributed to him.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. How much do they pay you to say that?
I'm on air. If it was a phone call, it'd be different. Private phone call, it'd be different.
You talk about big sports fans. That was one of our common. Daniel Nestor's one of the biggest sports fans. He's got, what do you
fantasy leagues,
playing all the fantasy leagues? I didn't see. Did you play the ATP pool this year? I didn't see your name. I did see me in the top 10 again, but I didn't see your name.
For March Madness?
Yeah, for Joe Lynch's pool, ATP pool.
I didn't join, but I get the emails, and I saw that you were. I mean, you're unbelievable at March Madness. What's going on there? You're always a top 10 finisher.
Yeah, who is he paying?
You get some inside information or what?
A little bit.
Is there? Jimmy Arias always breaks out some funny story about like Andy Murray like not paying fantasy basketball. Like, is there any hilarious story about one of these fantasy leagues where someone on tour is just like a scallywag and like not like paying their entries or complaining?
Unfortunately, that's true. He's in our hoops pool, and he's the last to pay. But he also, like, in fairness to him, he doesn't want necessarily people to pay him when he's owed money. So I don't think he cares about the money. It's more about the winning the title or doing well in the pool. Talking trash.
That's hilarious.
So Nesty, what are you up to these days? I know your daughter's a really good player. Fill us in on how she's doing. And give us an update on the family.
They're pretty good, but they don't quite have the Instagram profile that your kids have. Future NFL stars.
Slow-mo catches in the end zone.
They're pretty good at tennis, but I'm so impressed by watching the highlights of your kids. Graham, receiver. Sorry, Graham's the QB, Brody's the receiver. It's awesome.
Yeah, got you.
Cooper Kupp, is he the next Cooper Kupp?
He's a little taller, so
bigger, yeah.
I don't know. It'd be more of a like Mike Evans maybe if he can keep improving.
Nice, he's already in the Hall of Fame.
He's got the speed. He's got the Knowlesy speed.
Danny, you played, so many years on tour, so much great success. We've been talking about the players these days. We're watching Musetti and Boo here and how athletic they are in their movement. What have you seen nowadays with the players compared to when you played?
Yeah, you said it right there. The athleticism is off the charts. It feels like a different species out there. And, I played more in a time of, or at least my game was more about creativity and some shot making and high risk tennis. If the serve wasn't working and the shots wasn't feeling the shots, I wasn't going to get behind too many balls in the rally. So it was plan A or nothing. So, but these guys are so they're so solid. They can win different ways and they can run all day. I feel like it's a mix of Tour de France and tennis compared to when I was playing.
And Danny, you might have been ahead of the game as far as tension is concerned with your string, because I know at the end you were stringing it at like maybe 20 pounds or something, and a lot of players are stringing it a lot looser these days. What did you string your racket at throughout your career?
Well, I started off pretty tight. I mean, as we all know, the balls were a little bit faster, the courts were a little bit faster back in the 90s when I started, and then gradually, had some arm issues and was softening up a little bit. But then by the end, with the heavy balls, softer balls, it was down to the 20s. But yeah, that became the norm. I mean, I heard guys like Jack Sock with a more open string pattern were stringing in the high 20s. I know Milos is stringing in the 30s. So it's a different game now.
Nesty, obviously you had, probably arguably one of the greatest doubles careers of all time, but you were an excellent singles player. You had some huge wins in singles. I just wonder, watching the Canadians, I mean, I don't think you get enough credit, right? The guys that are now excelling in singles. I lived it with you. You were the guy back in Canada. I think it was Gretzky, Crosby, and then you. But, following the guys today, obviously with Dennis and Felix especially, like, what do you see in their games? Like, for me as well, like, knowing how you played your game and seeing the way that Dennis plays, like, have you had much conversation with him at all? Like, I think you could actually add a lot to his game, especially with his serve. You had one of the best serves, especially that short kicker, something that I personally think Dennis could improve in his game. Do you have much conversation with the young Canadians?
Yeah, when they respond to me on a private text or something, that's not always the case. But I've considered myself a poor man Shapovalov. I really enjoy watching him play the most. He's got so much game. He's such a big hitter. Probably needs a little more patience at times from the back, but it's hard when you have the ability to hit winners, from anywhere on the court. It's especially as a lefty, feels like you're willing to pull the trigger at any time. But yeah, I mean, there's times where I see his, movement around the net, finishing at the net, a couple extra steps at the net, maybe a little bit more feel on the return type stuff, and the serve. I mean, it's the potential is there to have the biggest serve in the world, or one of the biggest serves in the world. He's got such a lively arm, but maybe not moving around the box the way he should be at times. But I think he's had a good start to the year, and I think the sky's the limit for him. It's unfortunate. Unfortunately, the game has evolved a little bit more defensive-minded, which I think if he would have grown up in the 90s, having the attributes that he has now, he would have been a top 10 player for sure. But guys like Felix, I mean, I think the conditions are made for someone like him. He's athletic, he's consistent, he's got a huge forehand, and again, his serve can be an issue with him at times too. But I think with him, it's just maybe the opposite. He's got to be a little bit more aggressive at times, and maybe finishing at the net a little bit more would be more beneficial for him too.
Musetti now got the break in the hold, up 5-2, kicking it with Daniel Nestor. That was interesting. It was hilarious to see Gretzky and Crosby. But Tennis Canada, unfortunately, Shapovalov and Felix took the L first round here in Monte Carlo. But where do you think tennis? Oh, there we go. Where do you think tennis ranks in popularity in Canada? Because the BJK Cup champs on the women's side, on Davis Cup, they both got wins as of late. Like, we know hockey's number one for sure. I would say, in the States? I think tennis, I would say like 5, 6, or 7 in popularity. Where do you think it is in Canada, tennis?
It's growing. I mean, we have so many good players now, and I think when Milos broke through, what was 20 years ago, and became a mainstay in the top 50 singles, top 20 singles, and competing to win slams, it changed the culture in Canada, and it became a mainstream thing. It was on TV a lot more. It added to my popularity. All of a sudden, I was, because tennis was on television, people started to notice my results a little bit more. But it's definitely higher. I mean, I started playing with my kids thinking it was easy to get a scholarship. Maybe a lot easier back in the day, and because it's so competitive and the sport has really gone mainstream, it's really tough now. There's a lot of good players in Canada, as there are everywhere else. But it's a different culture growing up in Canada. I mean, it's a very deep field, every tournament, and there's a lot of interest in the sport.
Danny, I was looking back at some of you and Knowles' results, and at Wimbledon, you guys played one of the longest matches in history there. It was 6 hours and 9 minutes, won 23-21 in the 5th set. Is there something you remember about that match? Because, I mean, in 6 hours, there's obviously things that are going to happen. Is there something you remember about that match being one of Wimbledon's longest matches in history?
Yeah, I remember how badly I was returning. We were playing a guy that didn't have a great serve, but it stayed low.
Simon Asplund and Todd Perry, I
wasn't getting under the ball.
Yeah.
I've never hit so many clean returns in the middle of the net as I did that match. So it was. I played a lot of long, good matches, but that wasn't.
So was Knowles one of the
partners
partners that would get on you and be like, make a stinking return? Or, I mean, how was he as a partner?
I got a good story. So
Nice.
this is another match. We're playing Kevin Elliott and Wayne Black in Hamburg in I think a final or a semi. And I think I was playing the ad side, so I was playing. I'm not sure if we were playing no ad then, so I was taking all the break points, and then I missed like 12 in a row or something, and Knowles finally gets a 15-40 and converts. He's like, if you want something done in this world, you got to do it yourself. Under his breath. I'm like, thanks a lot, buddy.
I love it.
Like, you remember that? Did you just rope one down the line, or what?
Man,
I use that line a lot.
I was
so.
probably guilty of that.
You gotta do it yourself. Oh, that's great. How was this guy as a partner? I mean, was he on you, not on you?
No, I mean, I think we had a good balance. Nesty generally was very quiet when we first started. But I was probably a little bit more boisterous. I had a little bit more of a temper for sure. But I think, I mean, I can only speak for myself. I think we had a good, we had a good rapport with each other. We were able to kind of feed off each other. He was able to uplift me when I was down. I think I was able to inspire him when he maybe wasn't playing great as well, which is important in doubles. But Dan could speak for his perspective, but that's kind of how I saw it.
Yeah, I mean, we had so much success. I think it's one of those things in doubles when you play with someone and you just feel that you guys are doing everything well together, you're moving well together, you understand each other, and we had that chemistry, which is hard to find. That's what we played as long as we did. But Knowles was unbelievable at the net. I had my best results with all my doubles partners that I did well with, Mark and Zimonjic and Mirny. We all won at the net. That was our goal is to take the net away from our opponents, and Knowles was one of the best, and he actually taught me a lot. I mean, he covered the net unbelievable, and I became a much better volleyer in doubles when I just started playing doubles and playing with Mark, and so it was fun to be alongside him for sure.
Nesty, one quick thing. We see the graphic there, 91 career doubles titles, unbelievable, 8 majors. But I don't think a lot of people know, as I mentioned, you and I, when we first started playing together, we focused a lot on singles. How many doubles titles do you think you would have won if you would have focused on doubles at the start of your career?
Well, you call me an excellent singles player. I wouldn't go that far. I mean, I was, I had some big wins, sporadic. I was dangerous, let's put it that way. But I don't know. I thought about that actually. 100? I always wanted to get to 100. That would have been kind of cool. 110 slams? I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm a huge advocate for you ending up in the Hall of Fame. I think you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. To me, you're arguably the most accomplished doubles player that's ever played the game. So I hope you end up there.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
One of the things I'll never forget about Danny Nestor, as we have Musetti looking to serve out the match here, but one of the things about Danny Nestor I'll never forget is how much trash talking you would do on the practice court. And you would talk trash to all the guys you were playing against, and it would actually pump us up. I loved it. But did it pump you up? Like, kind of, what was your feeling when you were talking trash out there? You were always having so much fun on the court.
To be honest, it was, you're on the road, you've been doing it for a long time. It's not easy, getting going or getting motivated all the time. I did it just to keep things light and have fun and enjoy the practice a little bit more rather than, the daily grind of, hitting the extra balls and the extra serves. And, it is a job for us, right? So it's not always, it seems like a an exciting thing for the innocent bystander, but the person that's doing it on a day-to-day basis, it's a job. It's a 9 to 5 thing, and so that was my way of dealing with the grind. I annoyed a lot of people, but it was
I
fun.
loved it.
Musetti now possibly 2 points away. Because this is a talk show, we spend a lot of time talking about people want to up the product of the doubles. Some people think it's because the points are shorter and doubles players are getting so much better at getting close to the net and, closing off all the angles. So hard to return against doubles players, whereas back in the day it would be more first volleys and longer rallies. When you guys were balling, and when you look at the progression of how long you guys all played for, could you feel the style of doubles getting to those shorter points? Were people getting closer and closer to the net when you guys were finishing, or maybe that was when you were in the prime? Like, could you kind of feel that shift?
Well, I think a lot of doubles players, are guys that played some singles and then focused more on doubles. They realized that their skills were better suited for doubles, or they weren't cracking in singles. And when making that transition in the 90s, it was faster tennis. Guys were playing a lot more at the net, and as Wimbledon, the court will wear out at the net, now it wears out the baseline. So taking those skills over to doubles, was more of the traditional doubles, serve and volley. Guys were much better at the net, handling of the low volleys. And nowadays, when people make that transition, it's the same thing. I mean, guys are finish playing singles for whatever reason, and but they grew up playing a lot further behind the baseline, more athletic tennis, so it looks a lot more like traditional women's doubles match back in the day of the cross-court rallies, and that's that's what's happening in men's tennis, which I think is better now because the rallies are longer. You still have the net play, you have more baseline play, it's more of a interesting match rather than the serve, put away the volley, and the 1-2 punch that Knowlesy and I had to serve and clean it up at the net, which is still good, but
Yeah.
I find a lot of people come to me and say they really enjoy watching doubles, and I feel like it's always been like that. That's what the majority of people play. It'd be great if it was shown on TV a lot more, but I think the product is there, the level is high, and I think it's the longer rallies can only add to that for sure.
Well, big win for Musetti there against Boo. Boo had actually beat him last year in Beijing, so it's a big win for Musetti. And since we have a doubles legend on here, Danny Nestor, we have to ask you about the U.S. Open mixed doubles. I'm sure you've already heard that it's going to 16 teams, 8 teams based on singles rankings, 8 teams based on wild cards. You won mixed doubles at Australia 3 times, Wimbledon once, finals at all the other ones. Kind of what was your thought when you saw that about the U.S. Open changing to come and doing it during qualifying week?
I think it's pretty good, actually. I mean, you want the best product you can have. I hope some of those wildcards go to the doubles players that commit to it full time. But there's obviously a lot of money at stake, and it's going to be interesting to see who enters. And I think it's always been more of an exhibition than an actual Grand Slam. I mean, considering a lot of these players, most mixed sports, people are spending the whole year practicing together, whether it's skating or whatever the co-ed sports would be. But in tennis, it's more of a just find your partner right before and hope for the best type thing. And I think that's the case. So if you have something like that, you want to have the best product. So if you were and the most exciting product, and I think it'll be amazing to watch for sure.
So if you were still playing right now, you would be okay with that, even if you knew that, let's say you were top 5 in the world and you might not be able to get in. Because right now, the #1 doubles player in the world and on the men's and women's side might not even get in the tournament. And you won 4 Grand Slams in the mixed doubles. So if you were still playing right now, you would be okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, I would, being a top player, expect to get a wild card. Okay. But, I mean, it's more, to me, it's always been more. I mean, I was a doubles player. I wasn't a mixed doubles player. I was, you play your whole life, whether it's singles or doubles, and that's what you prepare for. And you have a partner. I play with Mark. We would get to tournaments early, or we'd practice together, spending time in Bahamas, whatever it was. And mixed doubles is a last second type thing usually, and so I that's how I feel about the event. probably personally, if I'm left out as a top 5 player, I would be a little bit upset. But that's the way I see it from a entertainment standpoint.
Yeah, it's an interesting take.
Nesty, what does a day look like for you? Say, how much do you watch tennis? Do you pay a lot of attention to tennis these days?
I do. I keep up with it. I wouldn't say it's number one on the list of things. I'd still rather watch a little NFL when the season's on, but tennis would be number 2. And a little bit of dog walking, playing tennis with the kids. I'm the math guy in the house, so
Nice.
So we got to deal with that. Just doing the family thing and really enjoying being in one place and not going to the airport. I enjoy that aspect.
And I mentioned your close relationship with Gretzky and Crosby. Obviously, some huge history yesterday. Records you talk about. I mean, you and I talked a lot about sports in our years together. I mean, we all thought that was a record that would never be broken. How incredible was that by Ovechkin?
Absolutely unbelievable, and interesting that we got to see him on tour a lot when he was with Kirilenko, and the guy was built like a house.
Yeah.
It's amazing that he was able to score as much as he did with that body type. I mean, he's not just a big guy; he's a talented guy, and absolutely incredible that he scored that many goals, the longevity, and he could keep going. I mean, Washington's first place in the league, so he could add to that lead, definitely.
Nesty, before we let you go, other than playing with Mark Knowles, what are the 2 things that fans or players should focus on in doubles to be successful?
Yeah, well, the right partner is key. I mean, if you're talking from a club level, positioning is huge. The movement of closing the net. There's too much side-to-side movement at the net, and in the club doubles game, it's more forward and back type stuff. So, partner and positioning and movement is vital.
Beautiful. Thanks for kicking it with us. This is a good little drop-in.
Yeah,
We had to surprise Marky Knowles. He couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
good to see you, Nesty. Say hi to the wife and the kids.
Okay.
Hope to see you soon,
all
buddy.
the best, guys.
Good luck to
Thanks,
your
man.
Steelers.
Thanks, Nesty.